Hello everyone and welcome back to Mordheim Madness Season 1. My name is Karond and we're here for the very last game of the Mordheim Madness first season. The grand final going to be between Talon playing as the Skaven and Slaviour playing as the Undead. We have Statue of Count Gotthard, which is a very interesting map. It has, it's probably the biggest map in the entire game, and two of the random deployments that you can get is more alike like Rivals in the Ruins, one of them starting around each of the respective wagons, another one in a semicircle by their wagon, and the third one, which is an ambush, with one team starting by the statue and the other team surrounding the statue. Gonna see what that turns up. Obviously both players know this, and initiative will be key if it is the latter one, the ambush. Otherwise it won't take too much of an effect. And I know that, well, we all know that Talon has a very high initiative warband, while Slaviour has a decent initiative warband. But I talked to Slaviour a little bit before this game, and he said that he would not focus overly too much on it, instead hoping that it's one of the two deployments that would go favorable for him. We'll see how it turns out. Before the tournament started, we said that these two players were some of the tournament favorites, and here they are in the final as expected. One could say that that is a testament of the lack of competition, and that would certainly be true, but you also have to give credit where credit is due. Both of these players were expected to get here, or at least get very far, and they did. So hopefully that's gonna mean that we have an interesting final on our hands. Let's just jump into the game and hope it is something worth watching. And here we go! Both warbands deployed opposite ends of the map and prepared to face each other. So we did have one of those deployments, and that's good for the final, I suppose. If experience has taught us anything... Oh, we have a little bit of a lag here. If experience has taught us anything in playing in this particular map throughout the tournaments, that it tends to produce very, very long games. Gonna see how that pans out here. If that would have been the case, Talon's two Globadiers, if he brings them again, and he probably should be, they won't have much use for their poison against the undead team, and their Warplock pistols only have 25 range, where the Necromancers have a slightly bit more at 30 at the very least, giving Slaviour a little bit of a range advantage, although Talon has movement, so he can make up for that. You can see the initiative here is really high for Talon, with a few units. And then we have Slaviour's almost entire warband probably coming in here. You can take a look in the top left corner here. As usual, we see 158 as the morale for Slaviour. 207 for Talon. Meaning that Talon's probably going to have to take, what is it, 5 or 6 losses, depending on what the Idol of Death can do here. We know that Slaviour likes playing around with that, and Talon probably has to kill most of Slaviour's team. See, the 5 zombies are back in style. Yeah, it's gonna be a few units of Talon's moving, and then the entirety of Slaviour's team, followed by most likely the warp guards here of Talon. It's a great ability of the zombies that you're expendable, but In reality, it's just a mechanism for... oh, we see more units here, so... Those are... the 46s are warp guards, but the 58s, I have no idea what that could be. Talon must have dropped initiative on some units. We do know that he usually brings a Verminkin and 4 warp guards, but... yeah, I do prefer XSplit actually. We do have a watermark here because Slaviour is the one recording this game. And I'm casting it the day after the game has been played. But I don't like XSplit, it's very easy to get into, it's intuitive, and it has a lot of advantages. A lot of people do like other kinds of software, specifically OBS, but I find that that's more for live streaming rather than recording, and so I tend to prefer it. And it's also easier to get into XSplit, that is. Let's see here. Usually it's kind of suicidal to go into the center here, and many people don't do that, so hopefully we don't get a game like we've had several times there where both players rotate away from each other, keeping the distance the same. And if they do that, if they do go towards one another, like both of them, like Talon goes right and Slaviour goes right from our point of view, or the other way around, we could have a very tight knit battle ahead of us, since this tight alleyway with some buildings here and there. It's gonna be exciting to see these two. I don't think we have seen a single match between these two players before, and they might have met at some point in the old days when we did have very little competition, but since then we've had quite a bit, and the big champion from those old tournaments, oh, we do see a trap going off here for Talon, being Talon, and you can see that from the current rankings as well, living on glorious past, hasn't won a single tournament since the competition has stepped up a bit, and that's for see if he's gonna turn that thing around here. He's in this final here for a second time in a row. Lost to Clyde in the previous tournament. That was the Mordheim Summer Tournament. This is the Mordheim Madness. Slightly more players signed up, although most of the players, had to be said, were beginners. Yeah, it really does not. That would have been fantastic if it did. Talon deciding on an overall path to go. We did see a trap go off slightly to his left, but that's not an indication that he's going left. He has kept up. Do you see a new spell here, which is the heart failure? I don't think we've seen too much of that when it comes. You can see that there is a new zombie hole poker for Slaviour, as he beat him, and Talon did as well. Although Talon was really lucky to do so, Slaviour did it in a more convincing fashion. Which is also a bit why I do think that Slaviour should be a slight favorite in this game. I've talked about it a little bit, but in one way you can say that, well, I do at least, that I think that Talon and some other players are part of the old guard. They don't adapt too much, and Slaviour is definitely one of those players of the new type that tends to adapt quite a bit. And I'm not meaning that you re-roll your warband for each fight, or that you try to always play by the same yeah, well, I don't mean that you didn't just focus on what was my point again? I'm conflicted with all of these things, thinking of too many things at the same time. Yeah, so I mean, as the old guard, they tend to be very much set in their way, and they don't try much in the way of new things. While players like Slaviour do. They do try new tactics, and they can play in more than one way, and they can play with many different warbands. But the old guard, they cannot. They always play the same way, and it makes them predictable, and I think they're going to go extinct sooner or later. And I think the reason Talon got to the final was because he's had by far the easiest path. He's not had much in the way of really stellar competition until he met Poker, and he should probably have given way to him here. And you can see that a bit from Talon's warband as soon as we get to see it here. We need to discover what those 258s are, if he has changed anything around. But in general, he did play for a very long time with his mercenaries. And if you look at the way he's built his Skaven, you can see that they're built exactly the same way. They have the same skills, they have the same attribute choices on pretty much everything. And another fellow player did that as well when he changed warband, which was Marcus Kane, who used to play Undead and now switched for Skaven as well, and he did the exact same thing, building up his Skaven exactly like he built his Undead, with the exact same skill choices and attribute choices and everything. And that makes these players predictable, and I feel it's only a matter of time before certain players are gonna figure it out, and you need to have these creative thinking players that's starting to do that. They see trends, they learn how players are playing, they learn what they like, they learn how to beat that, they're trying to move with the meta, they are sort of figuring things out. Alright, if these players are doing this, I should be doing this, which might be a suboptimal strategy, but at least it beats theirs. And Poker is definitely one of those players, Kirimpa is one of those players, Slaviour is definitely one of the cutting edge players when it comes to this. And you have some really nice players coming up that's up and coming and could prove to be very dangerous in the future, like for example Crowley. I'm looking forward to see more what Crowley can do once he gets rolling here. Udova has also shown some signs of that, as we're reminded of by this zombie's name. But still, Talon and Slaviour, they have a lot of experience in this kind of tournaments. It's gonna be interesting to see what they can do now. Talon has a tendency to go for burst damage every single time in this kind of format. He always goes for a very high initiative, goes for a bit of melee resistance but no stances, tends to like frenzy and a lot of master adrenaline rush, master exhaustion, and when it comes to Skaven, master black hunger as well, to try and up the damage as much as humanly possible. Best defense is a good offense. Slaviour has managed to find this sort of a good mix here between very offensive, alternatively defensive zombies. Has the drawback that they have to be refilled with Call of Vanals all the time by the Necromancers, so limiting damage output from 2 of the Necromancers, but he can switch that up and ignore boosting the zombies once they're into combat. And then he has also these tend to be high damage bursting units, usually with Daredevil, both on the Vampire Thrall and the Vampire. Although I'm a little bit surprised, we did see the Vampire go in with a spear. That could be an indication that he's changed something out since he usually had an axe. Nicoletta Surdal has not been changed out though. She's the same as usual. Come on, 999. Yeah, indeed. That is a possibility. Gonna jump ahead a little bit in time here.
Has started.
And we see the second round commencing. Still haven't seen a single sign of where Talon is. Watching this from Slaviour's perspective, so it's 4 units up there. The highest one is most likely the Sorcerer Leader, followed by the 2 Globadiers, and then it's probably the Verminkin that Talon has been bringing all along with him all the time. Which would mean that the 258s are probably the Black Skaven. Slaviour searching on the minimap for his opponent. We're still gonna see what it is. I mean, Talon could have surprised us. He's not sure that he's actually bringing the Globadier, knowing that the poison that he's been using as a zoning tool against most of his opponents is not gonna be useful here. So he might have skipped on the Globadiers in favor of something else. And in that case, the 203s might be the 2 Black Skaven. Going with Daredevil, Black Hunger, and Master Adrenaline Rush and Master Exhaustion. Very high on the damage. Maximum strength. Bring the idol, yeah. Kind of a taunt among some players. There's a lot of the newcomers and beginner players that tend to take the idol with them no matter what they do. And it's usually a really bad choice. Still not seeing anyone. Actually, no, he did not go that way. Can you imagine if we would have gotten a final like that when one woman starts around that little statue and the rest of the enemy is running by it? You would have no cover from buildings for anyone. Initiative would have reigned supreme. You could have killed off a few units before your opponent would get to move. Would have been a perfect setup for a slaughter by one of these 2 sides. And if Talon has dropped down the 258s, well, he has dropped down something to get the 258s. So he was hoping not to get that deployment, even though he would have favored him. The Slaviour didn't want that kind of deployment either, as we can see. I should really move forward here. Trying to be a bit of a scout, but I think both of the players are underestimating just how cautious their opponent is. Yes, if they were facing a player who is rushing at maximum movement speed right ahead towards their wagon, yeah, you might have seen them. But if you are facing an opponent that likes to hide in buildings and cover line of sight, well, you would not. And that's exactly what we're actually seeing here. Just wanted to make sure they are still having Call of Vandal for one more turn, but he's making sure that they can live without him for at least 2 more turns here if the battle is joined. It's a much nicer setup for the zombies here for Slaviour now that he has 5 opponents that he can name them afterwards. Remember in the previous game here he did have one zombie that was unnamed, and I really feel that he should have named Driss there. Driss was a tough competitor in the group stage. Was a bit unlucky that he won 1 game and lost 2 games against Slaviour, who would be a finalist this very first tournament. I hope we see more of Driss in the next season. Might be a big danger here for some of Talon's high initiative units, and that is that the Call of Vandal spell doubles as a Crimson Shade enabler for the vampires and the in Slaviour's Warband. And you can see that they have 83 and 73 initiative right now. If they get a Call of Vandal, they get plus 20. If you then use a Crimson Shade, a blue one, you get plus 15 more. And as we all know, Slaviour has been using a skill that very few people have tried to use, that also gives plus 20 initiative called... it's plus 20 initiative, I believe. Yeah, it is. It's called Stimulus that he has on his Necromancer. Might be one, might be both of them. So that could potentially bring up a unit, one of these units up to, for a total of 55 initiative. And that will easily get past the units that Talon has at the very top here with 100 initiative. And in so doing, Slaviour has the potential to get 2 turns in a row against some of Talon's units. I'm not sure that this is actually... Is this the same vampire that we have been seeing so far? He has the same name, but... Would you look at that? The use of perception in a final. That is a big telltale to Talon. Now he knows exactly where Slaviour is, and he knows exactly which direction he was going. So that should give Talon the give a go and see. Were they heading in the right direction? Yes, they probably were. If it comes by the street here, it could actually fire at the zombie. See, another perception check. As you can see, it's not a dead ability. It's pretty useful for finding these traps, since they do give a lot to an opponent. Trying to avoid that. Gonna jump ahead a little bit here, since nothing seems to be happening.
Started.
And here we are again for round 3. Nothing has happened yet, but if when Talon said, "Are you going top side?" he meant going to the right side here. 3 o'clock, and Talon did indicate that he was going in that direction. We saw trapping triggered by Slaviour, hinting that Slaviour did indeed go in the same direction. So we're probably going to maybe see a confrontation coming in here soon. Oh, and here we go! Here we go! Wow, that was good timing. That was good timing. Sorcerer leader is here. What can he do? It is an order leader, but we know that Talon uses him as a debuffer, as well as to increase damage output of his 2 black Skaven when they are nearby. So what are we gonna see here? We see exhaustion being used. He has to be careful. Oh wow, yeah, he has to be really careful. He used exhaustion. That's an indication he doesn't have too many blue pills left remaining. Can it 2 103s? Alright. See Sorcerer's Curse, so minus 40% armor and a lot less dodge and parry, 30%. I think that might have actually maybe been a little bit of a mistake. I mean, how close... If you see Thalvar, he's really close here by all of the zombies. Look at that! And he's gonna take 30 more damage by the end of it. So Slaviour only needs to do 150 damage to him. That's 2 of these nearby zombies. If they could get into him, this could be a really poor start for Talon. I think that was a mistake. Why did he want to use Sorcerer's Curse like that on a single zombie? Why did he do that? See some of the stats here as well, but we do know that the 46s are warp guards. Are they closer so they can protect the sorcerer here, or did Talon just plan this out poorly and was caught by surprise? Because the entirety of Slaviour's warband is coming up, and if he was trusting on the warp guards to come ahead and protect him, yeah, he should have planned for this. He should have planned to have the warp guard in position so that he could retreat behind them. I'm not sure he has though. Gonna see here what's coming up. Losing out on time for one of the 103. What is under 103 doing? Still don't know what they are, but oh my god, this could be so big for the final here. Might see some steel lives coming in here on the sorcerer. Having a few antidotes. That's all there to protect against the strangling globe of the Globadiers, which Talon might be bringing. No Globadier from Slaviour though. Pure undead warband right now. You can at least give Vampire Corpse Flesh and some other things here that could make him very useful, including Call of Vanhel. Yeah, there we go. Like, don't waste the unit. Oh, and then now Call of Vanhel. Now you're gonna see this. Stimulus plus 20 initiative. Call of Vanhel plus 20 initiative. So we're already up to plus 40. Taking this leader up to an impressive 123, and that's well ahead of everyone else. Just waiting here for the zombies to come into effect and see what horrible damage they can inflict on the sorcerer leader in case he is alone. He might find a whole team of warp guards there though if Talon did plan this. And he should have. Take a lot of time on him. See another one of Necromancers. I believe that he can almost see him, can't he? Refilling the Call of Vandal on some of these zombies. Ah, we see the tail. And we see a Globadier as well. Alright. Could use Lifestealer here, but switched his weapon. There's an indication that he wants to shoot with the bow. Doing a little bit more damage like that. There we go. Another hit, so that's quite a nice bit of damage, 95 damage right away. Has to be careful though with the Necromancer here, that's gonna signal an attack from the Black Skaven. Most likely, you can see it both of 2 units here from Talon already used delay. You can see that Vampire has changed his initiative to 123. To 53, it could be shurikens, so you might have switched it up here. And why not? Like, why keep with the Warplock pistols? Because the Warplock pistols has this thing that adds value to it, which is called warp ammo. It's a poison resistance check that gives you minus 6% melee and minus 6% range resistance if you fail it. But since most of the units of Slaviour are immune to poison, the secondary effect of Warplock pistols will not do anything. Hence, going with the shurikens is a good idea. Oh my. Yeah, she can definitely reach him. Wow, this is so hurtful to see. See another Globadier as well. So that did actually reveal that the 2 high initiative units here were indeed Globadiers. Yeah, definitely wants to go in there and kill him. Well, it's not so much as a mastermind game. I feel that Talon has just been caught in his underpants here. Really poor movement. We have an instant lead here for Slaviour. I would actually have expected more. I mean, but I guess we have seen Slaviour do some small mistakes here and there, but on the whole he's played pretty decently. I personally just long for the time where we do have champions that come out of this that play the game really well. I think a lot of the success of certain players is due to a lack of competition. I have to say that. Alright, let's see what this Tyrant can do here. Exhaustion, defensive stance mastered. Yeah, maybe this is the same one, so it's gonna switch to two-handed axe and start doing serious damage to some units here. Or not yet. has been a strange tournament. I would have expected this tournament to have the fiercest competition we would have seen so far. Yeah, we do see a warp guard here, but in reality, it's actually been... It's been more than previous tournaments, yes, but at least some previous tournaments. But I think the ladder 2 has had a tougher competition than this tournament has had so far. Lots of mistake for experienced players. Oh wow. That's really hurtful. And gonna use Adrenaline Rush here, locking down the Globadier. Can't really do too much against this zombie. %1 chance for a critical hit to occur. Did not happen. But we have lots of units coming in. Wow, we have seen pretty much all of Slaviour's Warband there as well. And there is indeed 2 Black Skaven here. Oh wow, and another one. Locked down. Yeah, this is gonna be a slaughter. What can Talon do against this? It's a bit of irony that these 2 warp guards in the corner there, none of them went into ambush. If one of them had, it would have blocked the zombie from getting in here. Also see the Verminkin could be locked down by another zombie. That seems like waste of a blue pill. It's alright. Walking past the corpse of Talon's leader. Here we have the 2 Black Skaven. Well, they could also be locked down, and it would take them, even them a while here to get rid of Pharaoh. I might want to double up on the Globadier, but don't attack. So I has all of the red pills left over. Indeed. A Tyrant needs to get in there. Is he going to target, for example, the Verminkin here? No, it's not. No matter what he does, the Warp Guards and the Black Skaven are going to have to react before he gets second turn. So he's most useful getting into the Globadiers or the Verminkin, since they are ahead of him on the initiative ladder, normally. Alright. 59, can you actually do that? I don't think he can, unless this goes a critical hit on 1%. No, he does not. Might have exhaustion on him, so he could be dead here, but tying down the other Black Skaven, alright. Yeah, Slaviour has locked down most of his team here. Ignoring the Warp Guards as he should. Warp Guards of Talon's Warband seems to be entirely defensive and there to soak up damage from heroes. But who would place them in such a situation that you have to hit on one of these units? Well, if you do ask that, I can tell that almost every single one of Talon's opponents have done that big mistake, and that's part of why there's been no competition for him going up into the final. Only Hole Poker has realized that the warp guards are not worth the effort, and especially not for a hero to just stand there for an entire game with them. Might see a quick 2-0 here. We do indeed. And it's not any 2-0 here, it's a leader and, more importantly, no, not more importantly, but also a hero. Does she want to be here in the fight? Alright. That just means that why would you attack the zombie? Like, just attack... like, then you shouldn't... I don't know. Saving the red pills on the zombie and not having any red pills on the vampire thrall means that the vampire thrall is gonna be the target. It's just that simple. I think he really needs to lock down the Verminkin. Can he do that some way? Should maybe be with himself. Come on, Slaviour, what was the whole point of boosting your initiative if you're not gonna use it for anything? Well, at least he's setting up an ambush so that Warp Guard can't go anywhere. Oh, at least he will suffer an ambush, but... bit indecisive. Would have liked to see him go for that Verminkin, locking him against the wall as well. That's where all of the damage of the Talon's Warband comes from anyway. That is quite surprising. Going into Web of Steel against... yeah, I don't get that. Why didn't Talon attack? Like, what? Slaviour has a numbers advantage right now. Why would he ever attack into that Black Skaven? Why not just sit there and wait and bring your necromancers to bear and kill them ever so slowly? Still a lot of damage being done here to Faro. Doing a little bit of damage back. It's good. Let's excuse that. That happens when it's Slaviour that is recording this game, so whenever he press Alt Tab we will go out. It's interesting that both of these players have very high offensive warbands with very few stances on the heroes. Even surprised that Talon does have the basic Web of Steel on one of them. See a bit of focus fire on one of the zombies here, most likely. And 30 damage taken on a henchman. Well, at least it does a little bit more damage like that. And another 30 damage on this Black God. And flee. Wow, so he's taken 100 damage on this Warp Guard now. That is quite a bit. With the Globadiers lockdown, there will be no way of Talon to really heal up these units, with the exception of consumables. But it tends to bring the same consumables every single time as well, since it doesn't use any kind of intelligence on any unit. It tends to be that it brings potions of clarity with him to negate the lack of stun resist. Talon bringing it in a little bit closer here, but it's one henchman versus a leader and a hero. Failing the terror test, that was unfortunate. It's -3 red pills and blue pills. Yeah, doesn't give you much of an option to well, but does the vampire want to be in a melee with the single warp guard? A bit of focus fire has started to come in here. Is this wise though? I mean, yeah, I guess he's blocking the path in and out, so that leaves the two black Skaven to focus on the zombies within, as well as the vampire thrall caught in there. Yeah, this was just a bad move all around with the vampire. Yes, you could have used... Maybe you can get down to the Verminkin right now. Yes, you can. Oh. And we do see it's an order leader, so he has changed it up quite a bit. Yeah, that's, if you use that, it's gonna finish up. Over there. And there we go. Well, it seems to be locking down the Verminkin as well. This is the main weakness of Talon's Warband. If you do focus on certain units, they tend to stop. The Warband as a whole tends to stop functioning. Since this Warband relies on a lot of burst damage from a high initiative, getting the drop on people, and here it's really not played out like that. We do have a lot of wounds. Oh, that's interesting. Could get one of the Black Skaven, could get both of the Black Skaven. Just need to be better positioned. Healing up a little bit of damage here, take it from exhaustion, it's not that bad. %3 curse chance. Bit of bad luck there, failing 2 of the 85% casts. Yeah, it probably wanted to use lifesteal on the Black Skaven. Yeah, indeed, it looks like exactly 3 units for Talon to rout. Will be 59. Morale loss. Actually, if he does kill 3 warp guards, that's not gonna do enough. Unless he gets some help from... Can lock this warp guard down. Still only has a parry stance. Failed the parry, that was unlucky for Talon. See if he can do any return damage. Yes, he can. A little tiny little bit. Yeah, the weaknesses of Talon's form is definitely becoming apparent here now. I don't know what he can really do, since the warp guards are not that super useful in helping turning this fight around. Not the way they are built. And with both of the Globadiers and the leader gone, it's gonna be all up to the Black Skavens, but they're a bit hemmed in right now. Yes, they could get us some zombies, and they could get at a Vampire Thrall, but meanwhile, these are the targets he wants to get at. Necromancers. We do get to see the Idol of Death once more. Yeah, that's a good target. Reducing chance to pass the fear test in there. And losing more morale for each kill. I think one of these zombies in here, the one that we see here surrounded, I think he needs a Call of Vanal. Is he gonna get it? I think so, yeah. Lots of them need the Call of Vanals. You still see that the effect of the Sorcerer's Curse is still there. It shouldn't really be there, but since the leader is dead, it takes another turn for the game to notice that the unit is dead. If the Sorcerer was alive at the beginning of the initiative ladder, that effect would have gone out. It's one of the few little bugs that the system still has. That's mean, that's just mean, stacking insult with master the insults. Might use Adrenaline Rush here as well, yep. Yeah, I'm starting to, even though it's number advantage here for Slaviour, I still wouldn't attack into that Black Skaven. Just sit there, let the Black Skaven attack himself out. He will take a lot more damage doing so, and you have the numbers advantage here that you can inflict damage with the Necromancers on him. If he remains passive this turn as well. Nice dodge. Gonna see quite a few orders coming in on this guy though. The needy one is a great target. Maybe you should just enter the Web of Steel instead. Yeah, decides to do exactly that. Alright. So what can Talon do to turn this game around? Well, I mean, he has a free black Skaven here. Maybe he can do something. Can he go up on the top side and maybe jump down and get somewhere? Although, on the other hand, it's kind of safe being here. But you know that he can do a lot of burst damage, and he needs to do a kill here on one of Slaviour's heroes to try and claw his way back into this fight. Why attack? That was a very lucky exchange for Slaviour, but I don't get this, because it was completely unnecessary to attack here, since it's going to be this Black Skaven's turn very shortly, and then he will just have refilled all of his red pills. The Slaviour keeps attacking him. He's just taking return damage needlessly. He's lucky that he even did damage. Yeah, this is really not a good idea. Yeah, could just as well attack the Vampire Thrall now. Or just keep doing the zombie, since Black Hunger will enable you to bypass most of that Web of Steel probably. Here we go, here we go. Chooses to not gamble. I'm not sure I like this attack either. I mean, I think I would have been better served for Talon to just attack the zombie and then go into his stance to prevent any further much of the damage that the Vampire Thrall could have done to him. Now he's gonna take quite a bit instead. Finally does miss an attack. Yeah, I could probably finish off the zombie here, or go for the Vampire Thrall. And now it's a good time to go for the Vampire Thrall, because otherwise why would it take that much damage? You must have had that in mind. So he did have a plan after all. That's good. That's good to know. This is a favorite tactic by Talon. If he does get the drop of someone, he always only targets the leader and heroes, never anyone else. And just that is exactly what Slaviour has been doing in this fight, with a lot more success and locked down Talon's units. And the score is a bit evened out. That's good. That is good news for Talon here. Making it more of an even fight, but it's so damaging to only have these two Black Skaven as the real damage dealers. And don't forget that That Black Skaven is going to take an additional 60 damage on the next turn. Should still have a single parry attempt left. Misses both attacks. Alright. Is he gonna use Adrenaline Rush? No. No, he's not. Still failing the terror tests, so has limited options of what to do. Yeah, I don't really see much of a way for Talon out of this right now. He did overstretch his units, put all of his ranged units well ahead of the rest of the line, and that hurt him. That hurt him quite a bit. Okay. At least the Web of Steel is gone now, so the other Black Guard can, other Warp Guard can do some serious damage. Doing 26 damage in return for 30 damage. I think Slaviour will happily take that trade. At this point in the game, it's all about trading anyway. It'll take quite a few losses for them to route, and for Slaviour it's just, if he can trade one unit for one unit and keep everything else as the status quo is, he will eventually win. And all of this extra damage done to Talon's units is just good. Like, 30 damage from Crowley in return for 30 damage. Fine, that's good. It just means that these warp guards are more easy to kill.
Round has
like
started.
400 wounds is daunting, but being down to 300 or 200 is way more manageable. Might see a dead Verminkin here. Yeah, can only take one more hit. It's gonna suffer one more hit at 90% hit chance. Ah, and it does miss. Alright. That's just delaying the inevitable though. Making sure that he does get the most out of his spells this time. Did fail 2 spells in his last turn. Yeah, I remember that unit is gonna take 60 damage. Adrenaline Rush, is he gonna use Heart Failure for once? I think he is. Wow, we can hit a lot of units with that. Look at that. We can get both of the... four units. Pretty cool. And the Verminkin failed his all alone test, so he doesn't actually get to do anything before the zombie kills him. That was good for him. Succeeded on the stupidity test. Gonna do a lot more damage on this very much hurt Black Skaven. Seems like two more of those and he's toast. Also wants to ensure that he has a very high chance of landing these spells. Doesn't want to risk anything too much now. And losing 4 more morale. More than he needed to, because he was within the Idol of Death. That makes sure that Talon only has a single unit left that can take route test now, which is the Black Skaven that has 260 wounds. Gonna have 200 wounds at the start of the turn for him, and that's gonna be very rough for Talon to recuperate from. I'm not sure that he's actually able to do that. I don't think he is. I think this game is already decided now. See another kill here with the first of the henchmen for Talon, and he's just 10 morale away from taking another route test and losing his second final. Yeah, why do that? Yeah, definitely wants to focus on Kel Shadow Knife. See what kind of damage he can do. If he's lucky, he can go through the parry. Could use a strong blow here, honestly. Just to limit the parry success chance by 20%. You can see that Killing Paw and Crowley, they are both zombies here that at least Killing Paw could have used Call of Vanhull pretty soon. I'm surprised he's even attacking here, but alright, what can the Order Vampire Leader do here? Oh, is he being sneaky? Yeah, he is. He's coming down. Yeah, that means that the Black Skaven has a lot of room to do very cool things there. Should probably use Insult here right before. Yeah, we'll do that. Didn't make much of a difference. And the Vampire Thrall might be able to kill off this Walkguard, probably is. And from there we're gonna see a route test. No idea how much leadership Talon has on the last remaining Black Skaven. There we see the 60 damage we've been talking about. Doing another 30 damage to himself through Black Hunger. around 170 wounds left right now. That's enough for the necromancers to kill him. Yeah, he wasn't buffed, but and another 60 damage. Yeah, he's definitely trying to just fix the numbers here. I think we're gonna see Victor coming in here very shortly. Oh yeah, trying even to kill himself on purpose. You can see that that's what he's doing. Trying to finish the game as soon as possible. At least that's better than just leaving the game, I suppose. That some others are doing. Score doesn't really matter. Ironically, I think that's why Talon does this, to have a better score than just leaving. We'll see. Heart failure goes negative red. Yeah, and blue. And with this impending kill here, we're gonna see a route test from Talon. Let's see if he can actually make that. But either way, we're gonna see the necromancers come in and finish off the Black Skaven. So congratulations to Slaviour. It's very nice to see him finally winning one of these, and he is very well deserved of that. I do think that he's been probably one of the very best players of Mordheim for a long time. Has had some bad luck. Hasn't had much fiercer competition in the various tournaments than Talon has, and now finally gets to prove himself and show what he can do and who's the better player here. And he has had a really rough game. He had a little bit of a deployment loss against Kid and Paw, and then he has beaten every single player in the losers bracket getting here. So it's a well-deserved victory. And let's not take it out anyway. It might be a few more minutes of this game. No, it's not. Okay, great. That's great. GG bro, says Talon, and with that, Slaviour is our champion of the first season of Mordheim Madness. That's so fantastic. Congratulations, and yet again, we've said it a few times now, but we truly do mean it. Slaviour has been a joy to follow, and what a powerful warband he has built up. Lots of combinations. You can really learn something from this if you take a look at study what his play and his unit composition, then come back and beat him with something that beats his kind of style. Looking forward to seeing you in that case in Mordheim Madness Season 2. Alright, thank you for watching this tournament, and see you later in other video series.